You can't hold back the brilliant. Nah, nah, nah. You can't hold back the brilliant. Constantly exploited, but we still remain resilient. Nah, 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 nah. You can't hold back the brilliant. Nah, nah, nah. You can't hold back the brilliant.
Friends, today I want to talk just for a brief moment about some of the things that I've been thinking about as relates to my morning read. I started rereading the Bible recently, as recent as today, and I could not this morning get beyond the first few verses of the first chapter of the first book. And so I'm starting to see something in this notion of darkness that I like to just kind of spew out to you to see what you think, and maybe you can put some comments down there in the comment section after you, of course, hit the thumbs up and the subscription button. Okay, enough about this. The first verse of the Bible says, "In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth." Verse 2 says, "And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep." So right when I kept reading that, kept reading it over and over and over again, and then I was playing in my mind about preachers who I've heard teach that there was something missing because God does not create in this way. God won't create a dark place, and God won't create void and stuff like that. But something was just sort of keeping me there, and it's letting me get to the point that I believe that there's something that we're missing in this darkness, and something that we are not considering because we are so easily swayed to what has been connotated with darkness as relates to the negative connotations. And so I start thinking about then the color black that I just so happen to be wearing. But black is also in literature and other, films and all the stuff like that associated to be with negativity, evil, and all that stuff like that. But if you start really thinking about the color, when you wear black on a hot day, as I've taught before in the past, it absorbs the light of the sun. The light is heat. The heat is energy. Energy is power. Black absorbs power. There is something very powerful about black, which is why the most powerful person in the courtroom, the judge, wears black, and witches and warlocks who are said to have powers and magic and all that stuff like that wear black. It's also what Anthony Browner teaches. He teaches all this. Where you wear black even at funerals because you are gaining the strength from your loved ones during this difficult time. You see what I'm saying? So there is power in black in the same way that there's power in black. Is there not power in the darkness and the power that we are interpreting as darkness, which could be dark matter, right? And so if you think about even a black hole in space moving to this cosmic level, you start to see that the black hole is so powerful that it absorbs all light. Black, in a real sense, is the absorption of light and the absorption and containment of power, which is also why melanin is so important. This is a part of the reason why God called light out of darkness, right? Because there is something in it, there's something to it that we have been missing, and there is light in darkness, and that's where you find it, right? In your dark moments, even the lows of your life, you have the aha moments if you don't let that darkness overwhelm you. As I've said in other videos, you have the blackness of the soil where something happens in the soil before it ever comes, this seed ever comes up to the light. The seed breaks away, the roots start to take their foundation, right? Start to find water down there, and then it breaks through the soil, and it starts following the light. But there is something to the darkness that we have been missing. Plato, in his Allegory of the Cave, teaches enlightenment. And just a very, very, very brief summary of Allegory of the Cave, you have these people who live in this cave in complete darkness, and the light that comes in through the small hole is kind of projected, and they start seeing shadows, and they interpret their reality as that. Then one person somehow breaks free and starts to say that there's more to life in a real sense, and this is what we're down here in this cave. And then they start going out to the front. They can't go out in the daylight because the light is too much and it's too blinding, so they start to go out into the night, and then they see the stars, and they can start looking and gauging what is around them based on the light from the stars. Then they eyes mature enough so they can start seeing things in the moonlight. Then their eyes mature enough where they can start seeing things in sunlight. They come down back in the cave and start telling people there's more here, blah, blah, blah. And this is where you get enlightenment from. So when you look at the Age of Enlightenment and what Plato's talking about, he's saying that there is a correlation between enlightenment and knowing and ignorance and darkness. And again, that's where we start talking about this negative stuff. But when I start thinking about my life and some of the things that I've done, a lot of it has been done in ignorance. A lot of it has been done in a space of not really knowing what I'm doing. And now that I know more and arguably know better, I'm not, in some cases, doing what I was doing when I did not know. Right? So when there's a creative power in not knowing. This is why even when you look at people who are kind of poor or in poverty, they're very creative, and then they make it to the top. Their CD or whatever goes crazy, and then they lose their inspiration, right? So in your struggle, in your desire, in your not knowing, you're just doing, and in your knowing, you're trying. So I want to kind of contrast those things here. Like I'm noticing, even as I have looked at the last 10 years of my life, because you have these pictures on Facebook and Instagram that's saying, where were you 10 years ago and do this juxtaposition? Well, I just decided to go onto a journey after my morning read and look at the last 10 years of my life as the pictures dictated on Facebook. And it was really, 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 really interesting. But my point is, in this span of time, I have seen evidence of me doing, and now I'm seeing like there's more effort put into trying, and we've got to get out of that, or I've got to get out of that, instead of trying, just do. Anyway, friends, I hope that I've been clear. I hope this has been something that you can think about. Put those comments down there. Like we said earlier, if you like the video, give us those thumbs up, give us a subscription. But these are just some things I've been thinking about. And until next time I come before the camera, I want you to have, a great leaping. This is Tim Lee signing off.